Court rules unfinished building owners can halt mortgage payments, sparking public outrage. Former Morgan Stanley Asia-Pacific chairman, unless China revives its economy, Hong Kong is finished. Economist warns, China's Soviet-style collapse could match historic impact. Relative exposes Hainan's senior police official for amassing vast wealth. China cleanses origin to buy Wagyu beef, causing hardship for consumers. It's all covered in today's China Truths. Court rules unfinished building owners can halt mortgage payments, sparking public outrage. Last July, China witnessed rare protests as some homebuyers decided to stop paying mortgages due to unfinished real estate projects. These properties, left unfinished by bankrupt real estate developers, are being sold off, leaving buyers unable to move in while still having to repay loans. However, a recent ruling by the Intermediate People's Court of Jiaxing City in Zhejiang Province stated that developers failing to deliver on time means purchasers are not obligated to repay. Furthermore, the Supreme People's Court of the Chinese Communist Party handled a real estate financial dispute, ultimately ruling that since the developer failed to deliver on time, resulting in the dissolution of the commercial housing presale contract, the developer bears the responsibility for the mortgage, and purchasers are not obliged to repay. This news has sparked intense discussions. Former Beijing lawyer and the president of the Federation for a Democratic China in Canada, Li Jianping, commented, "Because many developers of unfinished buildings have effectively absconded, they owe a lot of construction costs during construction. Once the developers sell the houses, they essentially collect all the money, and the developers have no losses. Once they sign a purchase contract, obtain a bank loan, and receive the down payment from the homeowners, it's like they have received the money. But they haven't used all the funds to build the houses, and often owe money to construction companies, so they have three interests in contention: the bank, the homeowner, and the builder." Li Jianping believes this is a shift in direction. He said, "Once all the homeowners bear this loss, they will fight you to the death because there are many of them. Although their individual strength is small, there are too many people. If they go out protesting and demonstrating every day, this government probably can't bear it. So, it also has to let the banks bear some losses. Even if the bank goes bankrupt, even if there are some problems, it will not necessarily fight for rights as vigorously as those homeowners." In China, buying a house has always been seen as a safe investment. However, buying a house now is not only the basis for accumulating wealth but also the source of dissatisfaction and anger. Li Jianping stated that these two cases indicate a new policy orientation. Li said, "The Communist Party would rather let the banks bear the losses than dare to let homeowners bear the losses on a large scale. Because there are so many homeowners, estimated to be millions or tens of millions across China. So, if it continues its previous practices, disregarding the immediate interests of homeowners, then these people unite. It may pose a significant risk to the stability maintenance system of the Communist Party. So, they are not too dare to continue their previous practices. So, it feels like they've opened a gap, and these two judgments have a bit of a demonstration effect, a bit of a template." Mainland practicing lawyers remind us that after a building is unfinished, many homebuyers may think that since they can't get the house, they don't need to repay the loan, which could be a misconception. Normally, even if the developer fails to deliver, homebuyers still need to continue repaying the bank loan until it is fully paid off. If homebuyers choose to stop paying directly for a long time after the building is unfinished, it will not only damage personal credit but also put them on the bank's blacklist. Lawyers state that only after canceling the home purchase contract and mortgage loan contract can the result of making the developer repay the remaining loan be achieved. Li Jianping said, "China is so big, with so many places and so many judges, and China is not a country of precedent law. So, we cannot say that these two precedents mean that all places will judge like this in the future. It still has a great deal of subjectivity." Former Morgan Stanley Asia-Pacific chairman, "Unless China revives its economy, Hong Kong is finished." Stephen Roach, former chairman of Morgan Stanley Asia-Pacific, previously stirred up controversy with his assertion that Hong Kong is done. On Wednesday, February 21, he reiterated that unless China fixes its own economy and allows Hong Kong to self-govern, this financial center will struggle to have a bright future. Roach, now a professor at Yale University, stated in an interview with Bloomberg TV,
Look, I think the most important thing that Beijing can do is number one to fix its own. Beijing also needs to be, I think, more aggressive and transparent in underscoring its commitment to the one country, two systems.
Last week, Roach pointed out in a column for the Financial Times that the slump in the Hong Kong stock market symbolizes the end of Hong Kong's economic success over the past 20 years. The Economist noted that China's full control of Hong Kong in 2019, combined with China's economic troubles and escalating US-China competition, have rapidly led to Hong Kong's decline. Roach stated in the article that over the past 25 years, the Hang Seng Index has been the worst performing major stock market in the world, barely rising by about 5% since the 1997 handover, while during the same period, the US S&P 500 index has surged more than fourfold. In his interview, Roach emphasized that addressing China's long-term structural economic issues is no easy task, and the actions taken by the Chinese authorities so far to tackle issues like deflation and the sluggish property market have been largely inadequate. Earlier this year, Hong Kong briefly lost its status as the world's fourth-largest stock market as global capital flowed out of China, ceding the position to India. China's strict COVID-19 restrictions, ongoing crackdown on private enterprises, unresolved property crisis, and geopolitical tensions with the West have all weakened China's growth prospects. Regarding the Chinese authorities' efforts to strengthen economic ties between Hong Kong and mainland cities through the so-called Greater Bay Area, Roach criticized it as a China-centric concept. He emphasized that in this project, cities like Shenzhen may play roles similar to or even more important than Hong Kong, putting Hong Kong at risk of marginalization. Economist warns, China's Soviet-style collapse could match historic impact. Recently, economist Su Chenggang posted on social media, stating that if China were to undergo significant political changes similar to the dissolution of the Soviet Union, the geopolitical impact would be no less than the collapse of the Soviet bloc. On February 21, Su Chenggang posted on X platform, saying that a friend asked, with the dissolution of the Soviet Union as a reference, what kind of impact would China's future economic crisis and resulting political collapse have on the global economy, and how severe would the damage be? Su Chenggang is currently a senior researcher at the Stanford University China Economic and Institutional Research Center, a visiting professor at Imperial College London, a visiting researcher at the Hoover Institution at Stanford University, and an honorary professor at the University of Hong Kong. He obtained his PhD in economics from Harvard University in 1991. Professor Su Chenggang stated that his brief point of view is that China's current economic situation is more similar to that of the Soviet Union in the mid-1970s. If serious mistakes are not made, it is unlikely to collapse in the short term. Over the past 2 years, developed countries have gradually decoupled from the Chinese economy, and China's industrial chain has also been shifting overseas, accelerating this trend. Under these conditions, if China's economy were to collapse many years later, due to the scale of the Chinese economy, the impact on the global economy should be greater than when the Soviet Eastern European bloc collapsed. He said, however, that decoupling and the shift of industrial chains would limit China's impact on the global economy. On the other hand, if China were to undergo significant political changes similar to those of the Soviet Union in the past, the geopolitical impact would be no less than the collapse of the entire Soviet Eastern European bloc. Relative exposes Hainan's senior police official for amassing vast wealth. Recently, a 60-year-old elderly person from Hainan made a real name report against her brother-in-law, Xiao Chuyang, a senior police officer at the Hainan Provincial Public Security Department's Security General Brigade, for having a substantial amount of undisclosed assets, including purchasing 8 properties and a villa in various locations in Hainan, sparking discussion. On February 18, a Weibo account named Pursuing Justice 931 published a real name report letter, stating, "My name is Lulu, and I'm reporting my brother-in-law, Xiao Chuyang, of the Hainan Provincial Public Security Department's Security General Brigade." According to the identity card publicly disclosed on Weibo, Lulu was born in 1962, currently 60 years old, and a native of Haikou City, Hainan Province. The report letter listed Xiao Qiang's substantial assets. He used his parents' and in-laws' identities to purchase 8 properties in various locations including Sanya, Haikou, and Danzhou in Hainan, as well as a villa in Chiang Mai near Haikou. Detailed information about each property was provided. The whistleblower also disclosed that Xiao Chuyang had his mother-in-law deposit 760,000 yuan, around $106,000, for him and used her account to trade stocks. Xiao Qiang's wife also holds shares in a jewelry store. In the comments section, the whistleblower stated that they decided to report the matter only after seeing their mother's medical records. I only found out that my mother was murdered after reading the medical records. I'm just seeking revenge for my parents. She also told netizens that she has been threatened after reporting. They said they would have the police station detain me or send me to a mental hospital. She further stated that no department has paid any attention to me after reporting. The news of an elderly person in Hainan reporting her brother-in-law, who is a senior police officer, has attracted public attention. On the afternoon of the 21st, staff from the Hainan Provincial Public Security Department responded to the media, stating that the matter is currently under investigation. However, some netizens expressed skepticism, saying, "Putting hope in Hainan doesn't seem promising." When Hainan investigates itself, there are 3 possible outcomes. First, silence or suppression of the whistleblower to protect the defendant. Since those in high positions inevitably know about many illicit transactions, convicting the defendant carries the risk of exposing other corrupt practices, which could lead to the collapse of the Hainan officialdom. Second, there is the possibility of cross-provincial supervision. Once the case is handled in another jurisdiction, the truth may soon come to light. Third, the defendant may jump off a building. China cleanses origin to buy Wagyu beef, causing hardship for consumers. The Chinese Communist Party often bans the import of certain products from other countries for political reasons, including using excuses to prohibit the import of high-grade beef from Japan. As a result, Chinese businessmen are forced to purchase Wagyu beef through other countries in a process called origin cleansing, significantly increasing costs and causing hardship for consumers. On Thursday, February 22, Yasabai Akio, the current Taipei bureau chief of Nikkei Shimbun, posted on Facebook, disclosing that the main meat consumed by the people of Tajikistan, a Central Asian country, is lamb, and their dietary structure has not changed significantly. However, in recent years, Tajiks, who have never had a habit of eating beef, have suddenly imported large quantities of high-grade Wagyu beef from Japan, reaching 304 tons last year alone, a 6-fold increase compared to 2020. Behind this abnormal phenomenon is the need for Chinese nationals to purchase Japanese Wagyu beef through Tajiks in order to cleanse the origin before importing. The post stated that the Wagyu beef imported by Tajiks almost all ends up being sold to China, becoming ingredients for high-end Japanese cuisine restaurants in major cities such as Beijing, Shanghai, and Guangzhou. According to Yasabai Akio, the CCP authorities have banned the import of beef from Japan since 2001, citing concerns about mad cow disease. However, Wagyu beef is considered the top grade in the beef industry, characterized by even marbling-like marble patterns, perfect fusion of fat aroma and meat fragrance, and a melting and juicy texture. Chinese tourists traveling to Japan greatly enjoy Wagyu beef, indicating a significant potential market for it in China. However, due to the official ban, businesses use Tajikistan as a transit point, changing the origin of Wagyu beef before importing it into China, a practice known as origin cleansing. Yasabai Akio revealed that before Tajikistan, Cambodia was also a major transit point for importing Wagyu beef into China, and this situation is not limited to Wagyu beef. For example, Yasuakari rice from Niigata Prefecture in Japan is recognized worldwide as high-quality rice, but it is banned by the CCP authorities due to concerns about nuclear contamination. Similarly, businesses use methods such as passing through Cambodia and Tajikistan to import it into China, and the authorities turn a blind eye to this practice. Last year, due to Japan's discharge of treated nuclear wastewater, the CCP authorities incited nationalist sentiments among the people to divert attention, using it as an excuse to ban the import of all Japanese aquatic products. In response, Yasabai Akio stated, "I heard that recently, origin-cleansed Japanese seafood has quietly entered the Chinese market. Yasabai Akio said that over the years, the CCP government has actively pursued wolf warrior diplomacy against Japan, disregarding scientific data and frequently banning the import of Japanese food products, causing Chinese consumers to spend a lot of unnecessary money. Don't forget to leave a comment in the section below to share your opinions on today's topic with us. Make sure to like and subscribe to see more interesting topics from China Truths.